My name is Bridget and I work here at Prosper, and I'll be hosting today's Law Super Fair. Just to set a little bit of an agenda for today's stream, we're going to be starting off hearing from our three amazing panelists for the first 40 minutes. And then from there, we'll go straight into each of the employer presentations. So we have a really exciting lineup for you today. To our audience, we really want to encourage you, if you have any questions, please use our Q&A function to post your questions. If you have any comments, we encourage you to put them into the chat. We really do want to make this as interactive as possible, so feel free to jump on and ask those questions. With that being said, I'd like to welcome our lovely panelists. We have Mark Lewis from Lane Neave. We have Anna-Marie Way from Duncan Cotterill, and Georgia Callaghan from Buddle Findlay. So welcome to you all. To kick things off, perhaps we can just go around our virtual room and you can introduce yourselves and give us a little bit of insight into your firm. If I can hand the mic over to you, Mark, and you can start off.
Kia ora, Mark Lewis, aho. Yeah, I'm the People Capability Manager here at Lane Neave. So we're a national full-service law firm. We've offices in Queenstown, Christchurch, Wellington and Auckland. And in essence, we provide all the services that anyone might need from a legal perspective.
Thanks, Mark. And over to you, Anne-Marie.
Kia ora everyone, my name's Anne-Marie Way. I manage the people and culture team and function at Duncan Cotterill. So our firm is also a full service commercial law firm. We have 5 offices across the country. So in the North Island, Auckland, Wellington, down in the South Island, we've got Nelson, Christchurch and Queenstown. So we've got almost 180 qualified lawyers, about 300 staff in total and 46 partners.
Thank you. And over to you, Georgia.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Georgia. I'm currently working at Buddle Findlay, Wellington as a law clerk. I am 23. I grew up in Auckland and I studied a Bachelor of Laws and a Bachelor of Arts in International Relations and Māori Studies. I'm about 3 weeks into the job as a law clerk at Buddle and loving it. I summer clerked at Buddle 2 years ago, so really nice to be back. As a summer clerk, I rotated through the litigation team in health and employment and the public law team. Both teams really different, so it was a great opportunity to try out lots of different types of law and practice. Buddle Findlay is a national full service law firm and we focus on commercial and public law in New Zealand. We have offices in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch, and you might know us as New Zealand's collaborative law firm, which speaks to how we collaborate with our clients to help them be part of a more successful Aotearoa. Thanks.
Great, thank you. So welcome to our panel. If we could start off with a question, I'm going to put it through across to you, Anne-Marie, to start off with. What is the most important piece of advice that you'd like to give students who are aspiring to work at your firm?
Thank you. I've probably got a few little bit, I could probably go on for ages actually, but I'll try to give it to just a few points. So probably firstly, one of my pieces of advice would be to give it your all and to go for it. So, you can do it and you will find a suitable role. On the other hand, though, don't be afraid of rejection too, because we will all experience rejection at some stage of our lives and it's part of the process. And the other thing I think is stay open-minded. The experience that you have in a law firm won't always be what you learned at university. So you might walk in and it's a steep learning curve. So I think it's really important that you do stay open-minded and are open to the journey that you do have wherever that might be. And then a final thing there to try and keep it fairly succinct is to I would say use your contacts where you can. So coming along to sessions such as these or careers fairs where you can, and actually speaking to the people in the firm, because today you'll hear a lot from us and you'll find that a lot of the commercial law firms in Auckland all tell a fairly similar story and can come across quite similar. So it's quite hard to set them apart and understand what it is actually like when you're working there. So I think if you do get a chance to speak to someone in the year above you that might have clerked somewhere, or someone at a careers fair as well, just to try and absorb and understand as much information as you can about the firm to get a really good feel for how it might be to work there.
Great. Thanks, Anna-Marie. Mark, if I can hand over to you.
Yeah, I'd just echo a lot of those comments. You know, I remember coming out of university and applying for my first series of jobs, and I wasn't successful straight away. And you know, it is competitive out there, but there is plenty of opportunities as well. I guess if you're looking, you know, to present yourself to a law firm, what we're really looking for is people that understand a little bit about us and a little bit about the way we like to go about conducting ourselves, and that they speak to why Lane Neave would be the right place for them to start their career, because there are a lot of choices for people out there in terms of where they are, and certainly we're looking to employ and help the careers of the best people, but the best people maybe a role in another law firm would be the thing for them as well. So, you know, very much we want to hear how Lane Neave is the right place for someone to start their career, and even if you're not successful the first time, you know, there's other opportunities to look at coming here. But certainly, you know, getting in contact with us and saying that you're interested and asking about how we might be able to support you with your career aspirations is a really good start. And then you can frame up your covering letter and CV to reflect the kind of things that we're looking for in terms of people that work here, but more importantly, align with the kind of career start that you want to have and how that could happen at Lane Neave.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Mark. Georgia, I'm going to cross over to you, and maybe you can give it a different perspective of this. Having recently joined the firm, perhaps you could give us some insights in terms of what worked for you and from a student's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what everyone else has said as well. All those things are super important, but something that I found to be really important was taking the time to figure out what you personally want out of a job and a career. So if you have a good understanding about what you're passionate about, that will then help you find the right organization for you, because it's just so important to find the right fit. So I'd encourage anyone seeking a job at a law firm, you know, to make sure that they know what they want to do and make sure what they're doing is something that they genuinely enjoy, and also something that feels natural but challenging at the same time. Things that you can do that can help you on that path are to do your research. I know it helped me to reflect on the subjects I enjoyed in school. So English, that was obviously a good fit for law. Talking to people in the industry, attending career fairs, finding a firm that aligns with your values is really important. Getting to know people as well can be a big help. So if you attend recruitment events, reaching out to people in culture at firms, creating those connections along the way will really help solidify where you want to be and how you want to get there. And I think those are important when starting out.
Great, thank you. A lot of networking you did.
Yeah, fair bit.
Great. So for all of those students that are out there, they're obviously wanting to know how they can be successful in terms of their applications and what your organizations are looking for in an application. And they all want to be progressing to the next round. Mark, is there some advice you'd like to give those students that are online now in terms of how they can stand out?
Well, I guess the key thing is we want to know a little bit about you. And, you know, at Lane Neave, we take a really balanced approach in lots of areas. And it's part of some of the parts of our culture that we really cherish about that. But one thing is that we actually want to get to know you as a person, and not just you in terms of what your career aspirations are. I mean, your career aspiration may be, you know, to be a really successful lawyer, and that's the key thing for you. But we know for lots of people, they have passions and interests outside of their career, which are also really important. And so as a law firm, we're really interested in those things because we believe that people that have a really engaging, enjoyable time outside of work, are better lawyers and are better when they're at work. And so getting an understanding for those things, because we will absolutely celebrate people's career success and what they can achieve with us and through our partners in terms of providing great services to our clients. But we know that there's also other things outside of work that are really important, and we want to celebrate those as well. So certainly don't be shy about that stuff. One way you can stand out is really get a feel for who you are and what your personality is. While you'll learn a lot at university in your chosen area, and that might be law, the business of law is quite different, and often it comes down to your social networks, your ability to build relationships and some of those other things, as well as your technical expertise. And so knowing who you are and what you really love and enjoy is a great starting point to start building your professional networks and start thinking about how you want to work with your clients and how you meet the kind of people that would be the best people for you to work with as well. So for us, we really want to see, a little bit about, why you're passionate about the law, but we also want to hear about what else you're passionate about and how else Lane Neave can be part of making sure that you have time for those other things that are really important in your life.
Great, thanks. Anne-Marie, can I hand over to you?
Yeah, sure. Now, I'm not going to go into detail around what we're looking for in an application, because I will actually talk about this at my presentation. So I want to make that somewhat worthwhile for everyone. But in terms of what would get a student through to the next step for us, so let's say you've had a first interview or a second interview, and what is it that sets you apart? I suppose I tried to focus on a key thing, because we look for a range of different things, but something that's really important to us is someone who aligns with our values. So our values are authenticity, excellence, enterprising, and he tangata, so that's the people. And we will absolutely look for those values in different ways across who we're interviewing and how they can relate. We don't put them on the spot and say, how can you relate to this value as such? But it comes through where someone's presenting themselves. Are they being authentic and true to themselves? And can we feel that? And I think the partners and staff in our firm all take our values very seriously. So that's probably, if I can put it down to one key thing, is something we look for at that stage of the process.
Thank you. Great. Georgia, perhaps you'd like to elaborate in terms of what you did that you think made you stand out and how you were successful.
Yeah, sure. So for Buddle Findlay, our firm is looking for people to show collaboration, motivation, resilience, curiosity, and authenticity. So they want to see your interest in the law, but also interest outside of the law. So as everyone else has said, it is really important to be true to yourself in the application phase. You don't need to beef up your CV or adjust from your natural style. You should just feel confident in who you are and telling them that story about you. So in my experience, I wasn't an honors student, so I was pretty nervous that I didn't have the grades to land a corporate job at a big firm. But right from the start of my application process at Buddle, I could tell that it wasn't only my grades that were valued, and that in and of itself indicated a lot to me about the firm. In my cover letter, CV, and interview, I made sure that I highlighted the unique aspects about myself that demonstrated how I fit with the Buddle Findlay culture. So the things that helped me stand out, I think, were my love of collaborating with people. So at the time, I did community work with Oranga Tamariki, and Buddle Findlay actually said, they'd give me time off to keep doing that work. So that showed that, those values aligned quite strongly. I also whakapapa to whakatohea in the Bay of Plenty. And in all of my interviews, I made sure that my passion for advancing Indigenous rights was known. And diversity and inclusion are strong values at Buddle Findlay. So by telling them that part of my story, we could see that our passions and values actually aligned. And those things that I thought, a law firm wouldn't care about actually were reasons that sort of pushed me over the line. So yeah, those little things, nothing's actually too small.
Okay, so you found the perfect fit, did you?
I think so, yeah.
Well, you certainly do speak about it very passionately. We can see you're happy there. Great. Anne-Marie, for students who land a job with you, what advice would you give them to help them survive and thrive within that first year? And perhaps you should give them some tips on what they shouldn't be doing.
So what they should be doing, something I always hear our partners talk about when they're interviewing, and then when they have summer clerks or graduates join, that is quite important, and I agree with this, is a really good positive can-do attitude, I think, is really important. I think really the rest can often be taught. You're all smart, intelligent people going through law school. So someone who comes in with a really good attitude, who's willing to roll up their sleeves, give anything a go and be hungry for work and try new things, I think that's going to be really important. And then also communication, so not being shy to communicate. You actually work quite closely alongside your partners and seniors at Duncan Cotterill, and you're treated as an equal, and you're expected to communicate as well. So ask questions, don't be shy to ask questions, ask for more work if you want more work, or if you're interested in an area that they're talking about or a piece of work that they're working on, don't be shy to speak up and ask, for some time to chat through and get to know the topic in a bit more detail. Probably the things you shouldn't do is sort of almost the opposite. So, closing yourself off and not willing to give new things a go. It's about the experience, particularly as a summer clerk as well. So you'll find you'll be thrown in to lots of different things, some of them social, some things like Christmas events and planning that side of things. And it's really to really get to know and absorb the firm and our clients and culture. So I think it's really important to give everything a go where you can, not to the point where you're drowning or anything, but again, that's, I think, where communication comes into it. So don't be shy to keep us in the know. And I think in today's day and age, it's even more important to communicate best you can, and we do our best in return to do that with you as well.
Thank you. Mark, can I hand the mic over to you?
Yeah, well, I guess what I tell a number of our graduates, or all of our graduates, is not to be too hard on themselves. Often people come in and they're really excited about their first role, and they want to make a positive impression, and you got to give yourself the credit that you will make a positive impression, but you also can't be too hard on yourself, because there is a lot to learn. And the thing is, you never completely have arrived, right? Very much we're a place that focuses on continual development and growth. And so, even in your first year, you can't expect to have seen everything, managed everything, dealt with everything. And so building that support group around you with your peers, in terms of the other graduates in the firm, even if they're in a different practice area, building that support network within the team that you're in. And you may discover that you had a real passion for litigation, and you've got a role in that team, but you might discover after 6 to 9 months that maybe it wasn't quite the right fit for you, and something else might have been. Be open to that as well. Like, what role you first land isn't necessarily going to be the role that you have forever. And for some people it is, but other people isn't. And then also, build that kind of support network outside of work as well, with other professionals and professional services firms. The Young Professionals Network is a great place, because while it might not be specific to law, a number of the things that they'll be going through, and the key things they're doing in terms of engaging with clients and organising work and communicating workflow, and are all going to be similar. And so learning from those people from outside the law firm is also really helpful as well, in getting a different perspective. So I guess, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't think you've ever quite arrived, and really focus on keeping learning, and make sure that you build those little networks around you to help resolve things or take opportunities.
Thank you, Mark. Georgia, can I hand over to you?
Sure. The advice that I would give would just be to have confidence in your abilities. You're there for a reason. You have an important skill set. And just be confident that what you're doing is valuable to the firm. It can be quite hard when you're a summer clerk or a law clerk to think that what you're doing isn't important, but it is. And yeah, it is. Also, ask lots of questions. Being curious and being interested is really important. You receive lots of training and mentorship right from the get-go. So yeah, just throw yourself into it, pretty much, I think is what I would say. And don't doubt yourself, because you made it this far. So
thank you. Georgia, do you want to just take us through like what a typical day and your work day would look like?
Yeah, sure. So for me, each day is very different, which is good because I'm never bored. As a summer clerk and then now as a law clerk, my day-to-day tasks pretty much involve various pieces of legal research, drafting legal advice to clients, preparing evidence if you're doing litigation, many team coffees, which is great. Working at Buddle Findlay, something I really enjoy is because collaboration is such a strong value, I find myself working with different people in my team every day. So when I started at Buddle, I thought, God, no, I'll never be working with partners. They're too high up. But, today, just for example, we got a new client and I was one of the people asked to collaborate with the partner first on it. So that gives you heaps of opportunities for learning on a day-to-day basis from people that have been doing it for years. So those things I really value. And we also have great social events. So it's work hard, play hard.
Great, thank you. Anne-Marie, would you like to take us through what a typical day would look like for a grad or a clerk on your side?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have spoken to one of our grads about this because it's not really my wheelhouse, so to speak. But I have a few notes that they have passed on, and for them it's sort of coming into work, catching up with colleagues, and this is sort of a little bit of a structure of the day, reviewing emails, creating a daily task list of jobs. And then I said, give us some examples of jobs, because I think that's really important for prospective summer clerks and graduates. And they've said things like incorporating a company, calling directors and shareholders to gather information. So this would be in the corporate or commercial team. Creating company resolutions. I know if you come into our employment team, we do our best to get our summer clerks and graduates along to a mediation where we can, which is an awesome opportunity. And then, for example, in commercial, you might look into the structure for a client or an agreement for a partner. So different discrete bits of work. If you're in the litigation team, depending on what you've got on, you could be stuck, in a big piece of work and reviewing documents, helping on a due diligence. So there's a whole bunch of different things that you could get involved in. They've said the other pieces of their days would include a peer group catch up. So we have sessions that we held for all of the different levels of lawyers across the firm to connect. So they'll do coffees together and all catch up. More meetings and work, have a lunch break, and then continue with work. And then usually in the afternoon, they carve out time for a buddy or supervisor catch up. So that's usually the buddy just to talk through. They're often the year above, and they'll talk through any questions and help give any guidance on anything, and then head home for the day. So that's just a little bit of a snippet from one of our grads. Yeah.
Thank you. Mark, can I hand over to you again?
Yeah, so I guess what I hear from people, having not been a summer clerk or grad myself, is that in some ways there's no such thing as a typical day, but most people come in and start around the same time, and often they start their day with catching up with a few people, thinking about what they need to get done for the day, making a plan around that, and then most teams will have a meeting and a quick meeting around what's the priority, what needs to be done, who can help, and then they kind of jump into work. And then invariably something changes. And so being responsive to that as a team, shifting priorities, picking up a different piece of work, adjusting what you've got, that often happens, either in the morning or you do get that time to actually do some focused work in the morning. And then sometimes there might be something that comes in the afternoon that means that you need to prioritize that. It's a little bit different at the moment now because we have more people working from home than we would normally or naturally. And so, but the people that are here, they'll tend to take a decent break for lunch, get some fresh air outside. Really lucky here in Christchurch and our other offices that we've got central locations that are close to green spaces. Heading out down to the river with some colleagues, having a coffee, having a bit of time to refresh before getting in, and making sure those key pieces of work are done for the day, and then taking time for some of those other things that need to be done, preparing presentations, thinking about what we might be able to push out through social media, doing some of those other kind of more sort of business development type activities, as opposed to the core work that needs to be done if there's some time at the end of the day. And we really encourage people to think about their health and well-being. So a number of our people might get out for a run or a walk, or get to the gym during the day if they don't like to do that first thing in the morning or after work, and then they just kind of manage the rest of their day around that.
Great, thank you. Georgia.
Sorry, which question was this one?
This was just, we were just going through, if you would just like to take us through your typical day.
Oh, sorry, I think I already answered that one.
Oh, did you? Sorry, my bad. Forgive me,
No worries.
everyone. Okay, before we ask, we've got some questions coming on, but before we do that, perhaps in just, I want to say one sentence, but we do still have time. Perhaps if I can hand over to you, Mark, in terms of, if I was a student and I'm out there and I'm looking for a position right now, why would I apply for one within your firm? Why should I apply for one within your firm?
Well, we believe that our culture really sets us apart. And I mean, you've heard about some of the other law firms and what their culture is, but we believe that our culture sets us apart from most other law firms, and we're certainly not just another stuffy law firm. So a big thing for us is making the complex simple. And so that comes down to getting your first graduate job. It can feel overwhelming and daunting, and we acknowledge that, but we do our best to make it simple. And it's the same that we do for our clients. With their issues or opportunities, they may see the complexity in there. When they're working with us, they get simple, plain advice that they can action from there.
Thank you. Marlene? Sorry. Anna, Marie?
For me, probably he tangata, so our value that it's for the people and we care about the people. Our teams and clients and partners and staff, everyone I think is really important to us, and the experience that they do have with us. And I would say that most, if not all, people within the firm echo that sentiment. And it's something that I hear often, that, throughout my time here and returning to Duncan Cotterill as well, it seems to really jump out as the people. So that's it for me.
Thanks. And Georgia?
Probably sounds like the same thing they all say, but it is true. For me, the culture at Buddle Findlay is just second to none. If you want to work in an organisation where you can be appreciated for being your authentic self and you don't have to hide yourself when you go to work, then I think Buddle would be the right firm for you. Because I let my passions be known at the application process. Now that I'm working, I'm still being given opportunities to work outside of teams that I'm in on projects that are things that people think I would be passionate about. And because Buddle has a culture that lets you be who you are, the opportunities to be doing work that you personally find interesting and meaningful are really amplified. So yeah, the culture is just really great and you can feel it a lot.
Great, thank you. Thank you everyone for your insights. I see that we've got some questions coming through. I thought that, Marlene, are you online? I see that you've asked something and I was hoping to give you the mic.
Kia ora, yes I am.
Hi Marlene, welcome.
Hi, kia ora Georgia. My question was particularly around Māori students and applying into a field where you can have that imposter syndrome feeling and maybe feeling like you might have to I've got to be careful how I say this, but bringing your culture with you into the workplace. Can you talk a little bit about that for you?
Yeah, absolutely. That was something that I struggled with at the start. You know, I didn't know whether I wanted to kind of go into the corporate world or stick in a world that might, I don't know, accept me a bit more. But as soon as I started at Buddle, all those sort of fears were dispelled, because I kind of put myself forward and who I was in my interview. I made it really clear who I was and, you know, that I wouldn't hide those things about myself. So, you know, once I was hired, I knew that they had that expectation of me already. And then now that I'm at the firm, I'm part of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And this committee is a super safe space where you can talk about any issues that you might have or any changes that you think need to be made to the firm. And by being part of this committee as well, it's really great for you to be able to voice any concerns and also just be with other like-minded people. But I think everybody at the firm as a whole has really strong values when it comes to advancing the rights of Māori. And I think that that's not something I've ever had to worry about at work or hiding who I was.